Start by talking about Bidvest. Okay, this is a massive industrial conglomerate started by Brian Joffe some years ago. It's now one of South Africa's biggest companies. It's a global operation, so it has distributorships, food service operations. It's big in Asia, it's huge in Europe, but it did at some point along the line hoover up the McCarthy retail motor vehicle business back in the day, I don't know, probably 15 years ago when that business got into a spot of bother. The aggregate value of Bidvest is just shy of 100 billion rand in terms of its market cap, 2.73% dividend yield, price earnings ratio at 17. Okay, Gary, so motor vehicles in this kind of context, I think is only something like 20 billions worth of turnover out of 180. Yeah. So it's not the biggest part of the business.
If you remember, food services at Bidvest about 100 billion. So you're not buying a motor dealership when you're buying Bidvest. You are going to buy a conglomerate, and we can't strip out the motor retail portion of it. But yeah, like you say, about 20 billion revenue coming through from there.
So it's motor vehicles. As far as I can tell, it's multi-brand. They were just opportunistic. It was whatever McCarthy's had, which was one of the oldest vehicle distributorships. They've also got things like Yamaha. I think they've got some motorbike licenses, boats, that sort of thing. But again, from Bidvest's point of view, good businesses dovetail quite nicely with their overall logistics focus. They know vehicles, they know financing thereof, they've got good people operationally.
No, definitely. I mean, if you look at it, and also you look at what Brian Joffe does, when, you know, this is an industry that's very difficult to make acquisitions. And Brian Joffe is, you know, he's the master of making acquisitions. But, you know, like you say, he also makes companies work well together. I mean, obviously with their purchase of Adcock recently, I mean, a lot of guys are saying the real opportunity for Adcock is going to be actually the logistics business that Bidvest is going to add to it, and the way that they're going to be able to distribute it. So, I mean, just remember that this is not ever going to be a business in isolation, and you've got the Joffe magic at the top.
Well, let's go to Bidvest as an overall then, because, I mean, Bidvest, it's done the Adcock deal. It's got the market quite excited about maybe doing something with food service. Then it pulled back from that. So at the moment, it seems like it's business as usual. It's had enormous spread, so it's very well exposed to different regions. What are you saying, though, with regard to the stock? Let's get the 5-year chart up there, and then you'll see in a minute. That thing looks fairly good. It's pretty elevated. It's going out to the right there.
No, but I mean, if you look at Bidvest as a company, remember about 50% of its business is now offshore. So you've got something that you don't have in a lot of the other companies we're going to look at, and that's that geographic diversification. Looking at that Bidvest chart, we like Bidvest. We think, you know, if you look at the compound annual growth rate of its headline earnings, it's been spectacular over the last 20 years. I mean, this is a buy the dip company. If you see a little pullback in the share price, you know, if it pulls back to sort of the 290s, 286 level, you should be piling in there looking for about 320 as a target.
And again, it's a proxy on the ongoing professionalization of business around the world, because in the old days of some guy starting a restaurant and doing his own sourcing of cabbages and onions and meat and so on, that's gone. People like Bidvest Food Services do that stuff, and it's an end-to-end thing. The logistics, the merchandising, the distribution, the freight, the forwarding, all that complex stuff. So it's got to be a bet on the greater and greater efficiency of businesses around the world.
No, definitely, and it is a little bit of a GDP play as well. So I mean, it's a GDP play, but not just the nice thing is not just the South African GDP play. If you're looking at, like, just to go back to motor retail for a second, I mean, if you're looking at sort of retail, motor retail logistics players, you're normally looking for, you know, normally 2 times GDP plus inflation. That's the kind of growth that you expect in earnings. With Bidvest, though, I mean, you know, you've got a lot of other businesses. I mean, you are getting diversification there. You're going to grow, I think, a little bit quicker.
Okay, so we're hot on Bidvest?
Yeah, I'm hot on Bidvest. Yeah,
Good.
Definitely.
Fabulous. I am too. One of my favorite companies out there.